Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, great.
How are
Super.
you?
Like you, getting old, we do what we do, you know.
This aging thing, it ain't easy.
Uh, well, okay. I mean, that's a pretty loaded question. I'll say.
For me, there's two sides of it. One is the health issues that come up
Hmm.
invariably, shit that we have no control over that just
Right,
happens. And
right.
then the other thing is we lose our friends.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
some some depart prematurely, and
Hmm.
but the cast of characters changes, and it's hard.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I get you. You were born in Mexico or you moved there?
Oh, no, no, I'm a New Yorker. I've been an expat for 2 years.
Oh, you like it?
I love it, man. This is a great country, a
Hmm.
fantastic culture, wonderful people. And
Hmm.
I like living outside the United States, especially now.
Oh, welcome to the club.
How long have you been an expat?
50 years.
50?
Yeah,
What was the input? What was the catalyst for you to move to Switzerland?
pretty much what you went through. I left Mill Valley back in the mid 70s, and it was already writing was on the wall. I thought of moving to Canada, and I did go up there for a split second, but it was a little bit too straight for me and too how can I say uh, closed-minded. It was provincial at best in the big cities, and God help you if you went outside of them. It was already bad, and so I just ended up after I got getting a signal, a divine negative signal from uh, the San Andreas Fault. I just said, "Well, okay, man, I'm out of here."
Wow.
My yeah, it was the Alameda earthquake gave me my papers, told me to get out of Dodge because
Wow.
everything may just blow. And so far, I mean, there've been some close calls, but the big one hasn't shown up yet. And when my little retaining wall in my two-bedroom cottage went down the tubes, I went, yeah, I hear you, man. I'm out of here. And but aside from that, I was so happy to live amongst the sequoias and everything. Everything was cool and BAP.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Why Switzerland?
very, very quiet. And as a primarily, I view myself as a more of a thinker and an observer and a writer. And from what my experiences are, I hate to talk about. As a matter of fact, I'm still guilty of speaking too much, especially as my wife says. But in essence, I just like to do and not to talk. I mean, I like to do what I'm thinking and then talk about it after I've done it rather than before. So this is a place to put things together for me. So, I mean, for instance, right now I'm preparing for a future full coming back full cycle where I'll be working with a horn band again after, oh man, over 50 years with after working with Michael and Randy Brecker and Abercrombie and all those guys. So I decided, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it again. I think I'm mature enough to make it happen. I'm not financially taking the world by storm, and this is a touchy environment to put more than four pieces out on the bandstand. But that depends on where you go. And my haunts don't include almost at all Japan or in the United States. Maybe once every 2 3 years, I might do a few gigs there, or maybe even. Well, there was a time when I could see playing a full blown out tour, which the last one I did was in 2021, I think, or some 22. And it would have been wonderful. We had 33 dates. The big problem was not that there wasn't enough work, it was because there wasn't enough servicing elements to get me to where I needed to go. There were no buses. There were no bus drivers. And when I ended up with a bus, the bus fell apart twice or three times. You know, there was something wrong with the bus, and then they tried to charge me for the upkeep on the bus of the bus, which is part of the contract. I mean, their bus. They're supposed to take care of it. No, no. And no, we didn't get that. That one didn't happen. But it was another signal. No, don't do this. Don't do this. You know, this is not happening, man. So there's other parts of the world, you know, aside from East Europe, of course, but in Southern Europe, the European part is an easy one because I've been here so long. But now getting into the Middle East and all, just when we want to do it, of course, that dragon called war raises its head, you know, and there's this and there's that. So you never know. You just don't know how it's going to work.
It's interesting that you're revisiting I guess I call it the Spectrum period.
Yeah,
Because Herbie is also doing some gigs. Paul Jackson is going to Marcus Miller's taking his place with the Headhunters band. They have
great.
met for 50 years later. How do you feel about going back and revisiting that music from your 2024 perspective?
Now I feel very comfortable with it. It took me maybe 30 years before I wanted to take that mental cloak that was called, that Miles Davis called, I did all of that already. I don't want it. And finally I got it. You know, it's home. That's why should I not do it? And I thought, but why do it exactly the way or try to reinvent the wheel? Let's try something else with it, you know. And some of the things I've seen Herbie do been fantastic as far as that's concerned. I mean, but he was always and someone who could had such a tremendous imagination. So he would take Rocket or whatever that stuff was at the and when you start to hear the little theme inside, you went, "Oh, yeah, I get it. I get it." And so with me, a good example of playing music from the Spectrum period is taking Red Baron, and now I call it Snoopy Search or In Search of Snoopy, but it's a whole other thing. And it's got a, I'm very happy with the seed that kind of was sown it was brought forth by a guy. I can't remember his name, but he came up with this very hip group out of Nashville, of all places. But it was a groove, and the friend of the Wooten brothers and all these guys down there, and he came up with this thing that felt real good, and he had a general overview of Red Baron with a dum dum as opposed to da ba da ba. And I went, huh, I wonder what would happen if I took that and tinkered with this. And so I've got something that's coming, which is it doesn't show the melody or the theme of Red Baron until the very end. But aside from that, it's just everybody's just blowing on it, you know. And I'm comfortable with things like that. It opened up my mind to the rest of the album, the rest of the Crosswinds album, things like that, going back and revisiting, and I feel very comfortable with the results so far. Otherwise, I wouldn't put it out. The other thing, though, that I started to reflect on is that I heard all of this concept before, and when you understand that bands like the Jazz Messengers and all were doing this in the 50s and 60s. I mean, I got rhythm changes on just about everything, but the melodies were different, even before this, fit in the 40s, you know. And then Wayne Shorter showed up and started writing chord changes for his tunes without that. But the chord changes were not were only relative to the pieces that he was writing, you know, like Witch Hunt and all of that. He didn't go back to somebody else's Lerner and Lowe or something. He just wrote Wayne Shorter. And so all of this is talking around in my mind because again, what I believe is most important is that for an artist is to be aware of what's going on around you all the time, and from that you draw a significant amount of support for whatever you're going to put on the paper with a pencil and five lines and spaces, you know.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm coming from.